This is Marc Ponzio coming to you from the Brooklyn Crokinole Club. This is a coverage from our recent event, 12-9-23. This was our main event. This match features Nick and Onur. Nick's been with the club for some time, but he hasn't been able to make it out to many of the matches. He lives a bit far out. Onur's been coming. You've seen him in several of our previous events. Looks like Nick wins the toss-up there, and he opts to shoot first. Comes a little short with his first open 20. Onur's just going to do his best to clear here. And he does. Nick's working on a clear. Doesn't quite get it all the way off the board. He manages these sort of demotions. You'll see this a few times throughout the game, and they occasionally come back to haunt him, but he does his best to clear there. Onur manages a pretty tricksy little shot. He bounces off a peg and sort of wobbles his way back into the 20 hole. Nick gets a full clear there, which is good. Let's see. I think Onur is sort of hoping for a little bit of a rebound or a bounce back 20 here, but he almost scores for Nick, kind of like his previous scores, a little wobbly, a little crazy, but gets a little lucky there. Oh, and here we have the Hutch Daddy principle. The gentleman just bounced a piece in when they nudged the table and just put it back, and play goes on as usual. Nick tries a little heavy hanger there of his own piece. Doesn't quite drain it, which is unfortunate because he leaves it hanging right there. Onur's here for the clear. He moves it away from the hole, but basically doesn't get the full takeout. Nick gets a full takeout there, which is great. He's got a lot of board presence, at least 30 points on the board right now. Onur almost manages a sharp little angle in. Nick tries to clear, doesn't quite get much out of the shot, but he still has decent board presence right now. He's down at 20, but he's not in a bad spot. Onur manages a pretty clean clear out. Nick doesn't quite get the clear. He does demote, but he loses his piece in the bargain, which is not what he was looking for there. Onur gets sort of a half clear as well. Nick gets at least one full clear there. And Onur's up to his last shot in the round. He just needs to get that one piece out of the 15 to get more advantage on the board here. I believe he still has the win anyway. Yeah, he takes the win for sure with that clear and stick in the 15. Score is now 0 to Nick and 2 to Onur. Starting round 2, Onur's going to start us off. Onur manages a sort of a little bit of a lucky bounce back 20 there. Nick goes a little short. Onur picking his lane clearly, but didn't quite hit it hard enough to get rid of it. Nick tries, but it sort of glances off of it and gets stuck bouncing around the house with Onur's piece. Yeah, this is a spot Onur's in. He doesn't really have a clean lane anywhere to get to that green one. Hogan's alley isn't quite right. The center is tricky because he has a half hole, and then the left side puts him through his own piece, which he doesn't want to do. So he's trying to make the best of a sticky situation, and he opts to go right up the middle lane with sort of a half hole shot, which just fumbles on him. Nick's looking for a little touch in, and he does a nice job of that. So Nick's back up on the board. They each have 120. It's exactly tied right now. Now Onur's going to have to sharp shooter that shot, see if he can get through the pegs and hit the far side, but his lane is now open, so he's a much better chance here, and he does it. I'm going to say here, Nick plays some really good crokinole. Basically, every shot he's taking here they're all like fairly successful hides to keep his pieces on his side of the board. It just so happens that Onur came to sharpshoot today and manages to knock a lot of them out. There's yet another hide where he drops his piece back in almost the dead center, and Onur has to sort of pick a side lane or a center lane to fight for. Excuse me. Yep, Onur's still up to the task, knocking them out one at a time. Nick clears but rolls a little off to the side, making it a more straight shot for Onur, who seems to be okay with shooting across the board anyway. And Nick tries the same trick for the third or fourth time here, but he does put a little angle in, doesn't quite get it right over the hole. Now Onur just has to sort of clear that one piece out and hope he can stay on the board with more presence than Nick has. So if Nick can do a hit and stick here in the 15, he could win it. But unfortunately, he rolls out to the 5, and Onur has 2 pieces in the 5 to Nick's 1, so wins by 5. Now it's 0-4, Onur. Nick leads the third round. Manages to stay in the house. Let's see what Onur's going to do with this. I think he's trying a hit and stick here. Yeah, he doesn't go real hard. He just sort of taps it and stays in the house. Nick building up presence in the house. Gets an actual clear there, which is great. Onur gets a clear of his own. Sort of even at the moment. Nick gets another piece on, stays in the house. So Nick has a slight board advantage right now. Onur still has hammer. Onur, I think he was trying to get sort of a touch or angle in, but hit it a little too straight, bounced off a peg, and pushed himself back. Nick sort of did the same thing, jammed off a peg, and just his own shot just stuck on. Not in a terrible spot. He has a lot of pieces on. They're mostly on his side. Onur's pieces are mostly on his own side, so it could still just about anyone's round here. I think Onur's sizing up the 2 greens, but decides he wants to go to the right instead. Kind of the same shot. Gets a little lucky with a bounce off a peg. Nick sees the 20, but just overpowers it. I think he was a little bit wide to his right. Onur decides to play a little safer and just stick to the outside shot that he can take. Not terrible. I think Nick's going for a similar shot again. He does manage a little bump there and a sort of a knockdown. All right, here on this one, Onur tries to brute force it. I think he's got a lot of pieces sitting in the house, and he just wants to get rid of them. Yep, there was a jackpot for that. If he could manage to get 3 pieces off the board, he would have had over $200. Onur was almost a rich man that night. Nick manages a clear. I think Onur sees this little touch 20 possibility here, but decides instead to drop to the side and just try and clear it. Thinking about it. Nope, he wants to do the clear. Hit and stick. Yep, that's what he gets. Okay, we're getting down to the last 2 shots. The board is not, favoring one person or the other terribly. It could be either man's game right now. Nick drops to the side for a 20, but unfortunately doesn't touch the red piece. And he sort of realized that he's already lost. Onur decides to take the shot anyway. He wants to see if he can hit that green piece sitting on the 10-15 line there. And he touches it, but he still wins. All right, so we got 0-6, Nick to Onur. Onur starting off the last round, manages a nice 20. Nick hits his first 20 as well. Onur comes a little short. Nick manages a smooth little touch 20, which is great, putting him in the lead. Onur chooses to drop to his left instead of his right, and he ends up bouncing off a peg. Nick goes for another clear, but only manages sort of a knockdown. I think that's going to come back and haunt him a bit. Onur manages his own clear, which is great. Again, a knockdown from Nick, leaving a piece in the house. Technically, it's an advantage position, but leaving those pieces around does kind of cause trouble. All right, here we go. Nick tries to clear some of this off and just field goals it between 2 of them. Onur, I think, is going to try for a 20 here. Looks like he's setting up for a bump and run. Decides he'd rather just shoot a clean 20 off the side. Overpowers it a bit. Line was pretty good. He just overshot just a touch. Nick tries to do a real far out shot and just misses the red. Here we go, Onur taking his second shot at this right lane 20 and drops it. Okay, so now we're even in the cup. Onur has pretty good board position. Nick has to be doing some double takeouts or some 20s or something to try and catch Onur's advantage here. Onur manages sort of a knockdown. It's still possible for Nick to win, but he has to do like a double takeout and a 20 or knock off a few pieces at least. And he's trying to figure out the best way to make that happen. Nick decides to try like a follow through and unfortunately gets a bad bounce and scores one for Onur. So that's 0 for Nick, 8 points for Onur. Onur wins this round. Now let's check out some of the highlights from this match. Onur manages this sort of bouncing, unusual 20, but it definitely looked pretty cool. Onur gets a rebound 20 off a peg here, and then he has this just this big clear, sort of a bomb in the middle. He gets at least 2 of the 4 pieces out, which is great. Nick gets a clean 20 here, and he manages a really tidy little touch 20 on this shot. Thank you for watching. You can follow along with the BCC or join one of our events. All of our social media links are below. You'll also see links to some of our friends' wonderful content. Thank you for watching Crokinole.